Alright folks, just thought I'd make a little video here, a little instructional. Now I'm not going to show you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do. So if you write it down, you'll be able to pull it off just fine. I'm going to dedicate this video to a friend of mine, Miss Perry. She called me this morning wanting to think about doing a split on her own beehive, but they don't have an extra queen. She was concerned, that she might open the hive and find them swarming or whatever, but basically I told her, look, if you open the hive and it's really packed busy but you don't find swarm cells already started, you can still do a queenless split, and this is how. This is hive number 2 over here in the bee yard. That box with the unpainted super is hive number 1. Okay, I started this about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes ago with hive number 1 and opened them up, found them very crowded, great brood pattern. I mean, both deeps full of brood, which is awesome. But no queen cells, no swarm cells. Now I don't have any extra queens myself either. I'm just grafting queens today. I had a few extra minutes, so I figured I'd check this hive. So anyway, what I did to make this queenless split was, first, of course, which is most critical, is find your queen. So for this sake, I actually wasn't planning on doing the split, and then I found the queen, so I was like, well, this changes things, and I make a split. So I found the queen, immediately cage her, put her aside so I know I've got her. Then it's as simple as just taking, for this particular hive, I had a double deep, not this hive, the one I was splitting, number 1 over here, had a double deep with double mediums. Both the deeps were full of a mix of cat brood, eggs, larvae, everything they need to raise babies. The upper mediums, one has, it feels like about 10 pounds of honey, the other one was pretty much empty. So I take one of the deeps, knowing that I have the queen, I take one of the deeps, move it over here, set it right on this bottom board. Don't do anything else to it, nothing fancy, just move the deep, bees and all. And then put on the medium super that had honey in it, okay? Because what we're doing is we're moving cat brood and we're moving nurse bees and the queen over here, but they don't have any foragers, so they need resources. So, if you want to do a double check, make sure they've got some pollen in the frames. This one did. They had at least one frame with pollen in it. But the big thing is nectar, is food. Now we've got a good natural honey flow going on right now, but we've been having these days, 2 to 3 days of cloudy, rainy, and that really impacts the bees in late spring. They can starve to death very quickly if you're not on top of it. I've lost a few. Anyway, so move the honey with them. That way the nurse bees that are in here working, that are taking care of babies, have the resources they need until some of those nurse bees and house bees graduate to a forager status and can start foraging for this hive. You leave behind one of the deeps full of cat brood, eggs, and larvae. Eggs is most critical, and you leave them some extra space. Okay, leave them some frames to draw out, leave them space, because what you've left over there is everything they need to raise a new queen and all of the foragers. Okay, so what will happen is all these foragers are going to very quickly backfill this nest with honey as the brood hatches out. So that's why you have to give them the extra space, so they have plenty of space to store brood, or to store honey and resources while they're raising up emergency queen cells. This hive, once you set the extra honey on top of it, it's done. They've got the queen, they're done. That's a new hive. This one over here still has to raise their emergency queens. Now typically I don't recommend making a queenless split, just because I've done it in the past, and it's ultimately will result in emergency queens, which emergency queens typically are smaller and it's not as good of a quality queen. The only reason I went ahead and went with it, was okay with it, is because I'm also grafting queens today, so I know in 2 weeks time I'm going to have new, what should be good queens, and this hive will have its new queen. Number 1 will have its new queen. If she looks good, if she's a big queen and she's got a good brood pattern, I'll keep her. But if not, I know I've got queens coming that I can replace her with. So again, this is just a quick little talk through on a queenless split. Take your queen, the honey, and the food, and cat brood and nurse bees to the new location here. Leave behind your foragers, capped brood, eggs are most critical. Eggs, they have to have eggs or else they can't raise emergency queens. So you leave behind your foragers, eggs, cat brood, and extra space, and you'll be just fine. Check back in about a week, make sure that this hive has make sure they're working pulling queen cells, and I'll keep pointing it just like nothing. Make sure hive number 1 has started some queen cells, and if you want to, you can pop into hive number 2 and make sure they still look okay, but they should be fine. You might want to consider with hive number 2, yeah, you should check into them after about a week, make sure they've still got food. If you're having any doubts at all, put a feeder on, because you absolutely don't want them to starve to death in the week's time while they're waiting for some bees to graduate to foragers. Your other hive, like I said, it's going to have all your foragers. Now you haven't left it a lot of honey, so you might want to feed it too, but you know, for us, we've got a week of what's supposed to be good, fair weather coming up. And I know there's lots of stuff blooming, so I'm not worried about it. If we had a week of rain coming, I would put a feeder on. So yeah, hopefully I didn't put anybody to sleep. That was only 5 minutes, which is good for me. Just a quick tutorial on how to make a queenless split. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. Thanks.